Our next story is one that has divided Texas. Whether a mother sitting on death row is really the killer of her two young sons. New evidence suggests that she may be innocent, and now a $125,000 reward is being offered for information that could reverse the jury's verdict. June 6, 1996, Rowlett, Texas, just outside Dallas. Darlie and Darren Routier had the usual trouble getting their kids to bed. Darren finally succeeded with their infant son. Darlie walked her 5- and 6-year-olds, Damon and Devon, downstairs, where all three fell asleep in front of the TV. According to Darlie, the next thing she remembered was waking up on the couch with the TV still on. She says she saw the back of a man disappear through the doorway. She followed him through the kitchen toward the garage, where she found a bloody butcher knife lying on the floor. Darlie said it was then she discovered she was bleeding from a 4-inch wound at the base of her neck. She said she then ran back into the living room where she found her two boys, Devon and Damon, lying on the floor, barely clinging to life.
It's about 2:30, and I hear this scream of Darlie just screaming Darren to the top of her lungs. I run down the steps as fast as I possibly can. I run straight to where I believe that Devon was. He has these two huge big gash wounds in his chest. And Darlie, she's on 911.
Ma'am? What? Who's it? What's going on, ma'am?
The police arrived 7 minutes later, but not in time to save Damon or Devon. And Darlie had lost a lot of blood. Darlie spent the next day in intensive care, and the next several days after that with police going over her story from her hospital bed. Darlie couldn't remember details, but felt she'd been attacked in her sleep and left for dead when her neck was cut. Darlie said she woke up and caught a glimpse of the intruder, but police didn't believe her story. They concluded that Darlie Routier had staged the crime scene in order to get away with murder. Police said that the evidence was overwhelming, that Darlie's fingerprints were on the bloody murder weapon, a butcher knife from her kitchen, that her wounds were superficial and self-inflicted. Police statements to the press suggested that Darlie was a vain and pampered woman who was angry that her husband's business was failing and resented being burdened by her small children. They said she'd purchased $20,000 in life insurance for them just 3 months before her children were murdered. Then, the discovery of this shocking video. Just 8 days after the brutal stabbings, a news crew taped Darlie at the boys' gravesite, cracking gum and celebrating with silly string and balloons. Detectives and the public believed no grieving mother would act like this.
That's what convicted her. That's what convicted her in the press, and that's what convicted her at the trial. The jury, during deliberations, asked to see that tape and played it back 9 times.
It took the jury just 7 hours to return a guilty verdict. Now, 4 years later, Darlie Routier sits on Texas death row, preparing to die by lethal injection.
I did not kill my children. I stand strong in that, and I can look you in the eye, and I can look everybody else in the eye because I didn't do it.
Convicts claiming innocence is nothing new, but is it possible that Darlie is telling the truth? That the Rowlett, Texas Police Department built a murder case against the wrong person? Critics contend that the county prosecutors ignored vital evidence that wasn't consistent with their theory of the crime. Shortly after the trial ended, a true crime author who wrote a book condemning Darlie says she got a call from a source in the DA's office who had startling evidence that prosecutors never presented to the jury.
Some of the things that were there were pictures that I never saw, of injuries I never saw. For some reason, they chose to hide more than half of Darlie's injuries, the worst half. They were so horrible compared to what was shown in court. If I had seen those injuries in the trial, there'd been a different book written.
Some of the bruising was as if someone had put their hand around her wrist. She was clearly someone who had been brutally attacked. I believe that her injuries alone proved that she must be innocent.
Like the 4-inch gash in Darlie's neck that prosecutors said was superficial and self-inflicted, medical records indicated that the knife missed Darlie's carotid artery by just 2 millimeters. Any deeper, and it would have been fatal. What's more, a bloody fingerprint found at the scene hasn't matched family members or law enforcement. And analysis of the wounds indicates that one of the boys wasn't killed by the butcher knife found in Darlie's kitchen. That second murder weapon still hasn't been found. In addition, a bloody sock was found, which police said was placed outside the house by Darlie to throw authorities off the trail. However, that would have meant that she staged the entire crime scene within 2 minutes, all without leaving a blood trail from the wound in her neck.
As each new piece of evidence came in that I hadn't seen before, or a piece of information that I hadn't seen before, it formed a certainty that she hadn't done it.
And remember that incriminating videotape of Darlie celebrating on her children's graves? Darlie says it was actually a birthday celebration meant to honor Devon's life.
That birthday party was done out of complete love. Unselfish love. Nothing but pure love done for him because he wanted to be 7.
In fact, the real funeral was caught hours earlier on this police surveillance tape. There was grieving, weeping, and prayers from clergy, but the judge prevented presenting this tape of the actual funeral at trial. Both police and prosecutors declined to be interviewed by million-dollar mysteries.
I'm innocent.
Did Darlie Routier really kill her boys, or was there someone else? The first theory focuses on the mysterious intruder Darlie claims to have seen.
I believe that if there was an intruder, that this was an aborted sex crime.
Under this scenario, LOSCH contends the boys were probably killed when they woke up and witnessed it. Another theory, could the boy's father have played some role in the murders?
I am not sitting here today saying that Darren Routier did it. I am saying that on the night of the murder, they had a little argument about finances. And she said, I think maybe we need to be separated from each other.
Yeah, we can't afford that boat.
If he thought that she was going to take his boys and all of his money at a time when he was already in terrible financial trouble, that's quite a motive.
According to Routier's financial records, Darren was 3 months behind in the mortgage. He owed more than $10,000 to the IRS. His credit cards were completely maxed out, and he had just been denied a personal bank loan. Furthermore, it was Darren, not Darlie, who took out those life insurance policies 3 months before the children died, including one on Darlie worth $250,000. Yet Darren Routier denies any involvement in the crime.
I know. Darlie knows. God knows. My family knows. Devon and Damon know. I had nothing to do with this.
Was Darlie's conviction a miscarriage of justice? Maybe you can resolve this mystery and collect that $125,000 reward. Here are the important clues to keep in mind. The murders took place on June 6, 1996, about 2:30 a.m. in the Routiers' home in Rowlett, Texas. The intruder was described by Darlie as a white male, approximately 6 feet tall. He was wearing a baseball cap. An older model black sedan, perhaps a Nissan or a Toyota, was seen parked in front of the Routiers' home on the night of the murders. If you have any information about this crime, go to our website at fox.com.